Update. Am I the a-hole for refusing to allow my stepdaughter to use one of my cars and telling her to get a job and buy one instead? Original post. My husband and I have a 5-year-old son together, and he has an 18-year-old female daughter, Sally, from his previous marriage. Sally is an entitled, manipulative young lady who has spent her entire life milking the child of divorce card in order to make her parents feel bad and give her everything she wants. As a result, she is now a lazy adult with poor grades in school, no prospect, no job, and no desire to get a job or do something with her life. Although my husband and her bio mom are both responsible for how she turned out, instead of coming together and working toward helping her do something, they prefer to blame each other and do everything they can to undermine the other. For example, if my husband punishes Sally by not giving her spending money, her mom will immediately throw money at her. If her mom takes her car away as a punishment, my husband will immediately give her his car to use. It's a very strange dynamic they have, and very different from what he has with me. When I asked him why he is so different in terms of parenting my son with me versus Sally with her bio mom, he said I am his wife, and a normal, sane woman he can actually communicate with. Whatever. I feel like they are both wrong, but Sally is not my daughter, and I'm happy I don't have to spend too much time with her. Now that summer break has started, Sally has the most important problem in the world. Her car broke down and she needs one to use this summer to go places, meet her friends, go to parties, etc. Her mom is not willing to give her car because she needs it for work. My husband needs his car to go to work, and neither of them is willing to buy her a new one. So Sally, the genius, found the perfect solution and asked me to give her one of my cars. To be clear, I have 2 cars, a big SUV that was given to me by my employer, and a smaller one that I use when I go into town because it's easier to park. I refused and told her she can't use either of my cars. She insisted and said I don't need 2 cars at the same time, but she needs one to get around. I told her she's free to use public transportation or get a job and buy one herself. Now Sally's going around to my husband's relatives complaining that I am trying to exploit her and send her to work. I had a good laugh about this with my husband's sister, but my mother-in-law claims I could have just refused instead of telling her to get a job. I'm a little confused about what's so bad about telling an adult to get a job. It's not like I sent a 12-year-old to work for her food or anything. Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not the a-hole. Hide your keys. Also, make it clear to all that you will call in the police if a car goes missing, and you will tell them who took it. This OP because from what you've described, Sally wouldn't think twice about borrowing one of your cars. And if the SUV is a nicer vehicle, that is what she'll likely take, especially as her friends will all fit. Make it clear to both her and your husband that if either vehicle is ever missing, you will report it stolen to police and will follow through on pressing charges. If you start getting messages from her family members about how you are trying to manipulate her into getting a job, you need to confirm that as clearly as possible. You are trying to make her get a job and will continue to do so as long as you can. You have the opportunity to erase some of the damage done by her 2 enabling parents. Do not be deterred. The strange thing is that my husband agrees with me. Her mother totally hates me and is teaching her that everything I say is BS. My husband's sister agrees with me, and my mother-in-law babies her because she is her first grandchild. But I feel like no one in this situation is doing her a favor. I'm not trying to manipulate her, but her situation is so different from what I'm used to or how I parent my own child that it's insane. Like, how can it be so horrible to teach an adult responsibility? To want to give her direction in life? I don't know what they expect to do with her, honestly. They can't support her for the rest of her life, and it's sad because she is a capable, healthy adult. Even people with disabilities work and want to do something with their lives, so she has no excuse. Now for the update. Hello again. Thank you for all the feedback you provided on my previous post. I really appreciate that you spent your time giving me some ideas. The majority of you advised me to hide my car keys, because Sally would most likely try to steal one of my cars when I am not home. You are not far from the truth because she oftentimes does this with her mother's car, meaning she will take the car when her mom is not home without asking if she needs it later or asking for permission. So your advice makes a lot of sense. However, I refuse to do such a thing in my own home. I believe that if I end up in a position where I have to hide my things in my own house, we'll have a bigger problem that needs to be solved. Also, where does this stop? Today I have to hide my car keys, later my money, then my purse. This is not the kind of life I want to have, and it never happened to me as a teenager and young adult. When I used to live with my parents, I knew where everything was: car keys, money, documents, jewelry, etc. And I never took anything without asking. So, after reading a certain comment, thank you by the way, I had a good laugh. I decided to follow their advice, but in a less dramatic way. I sat my husband and his daughter down to have a chat. I made it clear in front of my husband that Sally insisted on using one of my cars and I do not agree with it. Then I told Sally that I know she sometimes takes her mother's car without asking and warned her not to dare do something like that with my cars when I am not home, because if she does, I will call the police and report the car stolen. She was shocked and asked me if I would stoop so low as to report her for stealing, just for a car that I don't use or need anyway. I told her it's not me who would stoop so low, but her. Because taking something that does not belong to you, especially after being told no, is the clear definition of stealing. So yes, I would report it. I think for the first time in her life she understood there will be consequences for her actions, and she did not protest further. After this, I asked her to clarify in front of my husband how it is that me suggesting she get a job makes me a person who tries to exploit her based on what she told my mother-in-law and sister-in-law. My husband had no idea about it and he just exploded. After hearing what happened, he told her it's good that we heard what she says behind our backs, because he will give her even more reasons to complain. My husband told her she will not be seeing any money from him during this summer. Sally started crying and told him he can't do this, but my husband told her he can and he will. His responsibility as her parent is to feed her, buy her clothes, and help her pay for school items, but that's it. She is an adult, and if she wants to party or see her friends, she should start paying for it herself, since she never appreciated anything she was given. Apparently, this is the hill my husband is willing to die on, and he even told his ex-wife about his plans, making it clear that if she wants to support Sally's activities this summer, she will have to do it alone, because he will not contribute to anything that's not a necessity. So yeah, this is where we are at now. Sally stormed out of our house and of course went to her grandmother to complain. But I am waiting. If mother-in-law opens any discussions about it with me, I will make it clear she is free to support Sally as much as she wants. We are not stopping her. Good to hear spouse supports you. Not always the case. It's great he's finally holding her accountable. Tough love is sometimes necessary. I read a similar story where the mother-in-law is always enabling OP's daughter's behavior. She's a few years younger than your stepdaughter. I think she's like 14. She vapes, sneaks out, steals, you name it. And mother-in-law is always there giving her 2 cents. And of course, it's always something the OP did wrong, because she raised 3 rowdy boys and never had this issue. Until one day OP had enough and decided that it's time her daughter moves in with the self-proclaimed Mother of the Year. Guess how long it lasted? Barely 3 days. OP had her mother-in-law on mute. She received voicemail after voicemail of her mother-in-law crying because she couldn't take it anymore. OP took her sweet time, of course, to collect her daughter. Not a peep from mother-in-law since. If your mother-in-law and sister-in-law is gonna enable her, then maybe it's time they take her in and see how they do. Next story. Am I the a-hole for asking my mother-in-law to be my backup birthing partner over my dad's wife? My dad, 50s, started dating his wife, Fran, 50s, when I, 30 female, was in college. From the beginning, she was too much for me. The first time I met her, she asked personal and intrusive questions about growing up without a mother and how I handled becoming a woman with only a man in the house and mostly men in my extended family. My dad was like, "Oh, she's just so excited to meet you, and she's looking forward to helping you in a female or motherly mentor role." I explained to her a couple of times in those early meetings that I wasn't comfortable sharing personal stuff with her because we didn't even know each other. She told me she knew me better than she knew herself, and that I didn't need to stress about not having a mom anymore because she was there and would never falter in her new duties. I explained to her that she had none, and that I was an independent adult who no longer lived at home. But she didn't listen to any of it and did what she wanted. She wanted to have a sex ed talk with me, and I didn't visit my dad for a solid 8 months after her attempt. And not just because she tried to have a talk like that with me, but because she would not take no for an answer. Our relationship has always leaned very one-sided. She loves me, wants to be a part of my daily life, wants us to hang out, and for me to let her mother me, while I always have to psych myself up to see her, and I do not enjoy a moment of it. She has become very jealous of my mother-in-law too. I met my mother-in-law when I was 20, and she was a real sweetheart. Our relationship has become incredibly close over the years. When my husband and I were planning our wedding, she was incredibly helpful and supportive, and went for a walk with my dad's wife a number of times when she was trying to intrude, and wouldn't take no for an answer or when she was trying to cling to me. Mother-in-law stepped in enough times that we gave her a thank you gift after the wedding was all over. There's other stuff I could get into, but I don't want to make this a super long post. The issue we're having now is this. My husband is sensitive to blood and could pass out or become unwell during my labor. He's trying to work on improving this, so it's not an issue when I give birth to our first child. So we wanted to have a backup birthing partner for me, and I asked my mother-in-law, who said yes. She's the kind of supportive person I would want because she listens and would never try to force anything on me. My dad's wife is offended I chose mother-in-law for this. She and my dad are planning to stay at an Airbnb for an extended period before I give birth and for a while after, and because of this, she feels she should be the person I ask, as the actual mother figure in my life. I said nothing about her reaction, and I'm ignoring all her attempts to bring this up to me. I ignored my dad when he brought it up to me too. All I know is they still plan to come, and she's possibly going to attempt some in-person pushing of the topic, and probably expects some kind of apology. I don't think I owe her one or owe her being asked to fill in if needed, but maybe she's right and I'm wrong. So I'll ask, am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. Let the nurses know your wishes. They will take it from there. Absolutely. Nurses don't give a damn about anyone else's wishes but yours. Not the a-hole. You need to stop ignoring and get this addressed once and for all. You, with your husband for support, should have a sit-down or a FaceTime ASAP. Tell them you want them to listen and not interrupt you, and they can speak after you're done. Lay it out. It may be harsh, but ignoring them is just letting her delusions continue. Dad, I am happy that you have found someone to make your life more full. Understand that Fran is your wife, and only your wife. I am respectful of that and will always be respectful to her, as long as I receive the same courtesy. You have failed me by not correcting Fran's intrusive behavior, and we will no longer tolerate it. You need to do better if you want to have to remain fully in mine and my family's lives. If not, we may need to limit our interactions. Fran, I appreciate that you make my father happy. You are only my father's wife, and will only ever be his wife. You are not a mother figure, and I will never see you as that. Your continued intrusive behavior has made me want to avoid my own father. Before the resentment grows to unbearable levels, you need to step back and understand your role as my father's wife only. You may or may not want to bring in your expected relationship level with your child. You will not be a grandma, or she may, your call. I am sorry you are going through this, but you have to be strong now, or they are going to stomp all over you when you are postpartum and beyond. Congratulations on the coming of your new child. I hope it goes easy with whomever is your support. I was honestly planning to wait a while before seeing them anyway, since I know nothing I say will sink in. The only way to really ensure that kind of peace is to go no contact, and I'm not ready for that with my dad yet. That might be a point I reach, but it's less stressful for me to ignore and not see them until I'm ready. Last story. Am I the a-hole for punching my mom's boyfriend after he shoved my dog off the couch so aggressively it landed awkwardly on the floor, whimpered in pain, and couldn't stand on its leg afterwards? My mom's boyfriend, male 40s, does not like dogs. He doesn't have a phobia or anything. He just does not like them, and has said so himself. He came over and him and my mom were sitting next to each other watching TV while I, 19 male, was on the other couch just playing on my phone. He got up to go to the bathroom and my dog jumped on the couch and sat where he was sitting. When he came back and noticed that the dog took his spot on the couch, he shoved it so hard it fell on the floor, yelped and whimpered, and couldn't get up on its leg. It was a very hard shove and it all happened so fast. But when I registered what just happened, I stood up, quickly walked up to him and punched him as hard as I could, and then gently picked up my dog. My mom yelled at me, asking me what's wrong with me, while her boyfriend got all up in my face, swearing at me and threatening to beat me up. But my mom got in between us. I took my dog to the vet, and he had a broken leg and needed surgery. I had to use all the money I've been saving up to make the surgery happen. My mom did not even contribute a penny. Despite all this, she is still mad at me for punching her boyfriend and doesn't understand why I acted that way over a dog. She wanted me to apologize to him, but this is the hill I will die on. Not the a-hole. Tell him you'll report him to the SPCA if he doesn't cover the bill. I would make him cover the bill and then report him. Screw him and people like him. Time to move out, bud, for your safety and your health and the health of your pet. Do you have any family that can help? I wish I did. This incident and other ones in the past, where my mom took his side even when he was wrong, is the reason I've been saving up to move out. But with everything that happened, that's not going to happen anytime soon. Then move out and figure out how to pay for it later. That's the advice I wish someone gave me as a 19-year-old. I'm giving it to you now. When your mom finally gets around to calling, don't answer. She has made her choice, and until this runs its course, she's not choosing you. If only I could. It's literally impossible for me and my pup to move out right now. I now have less than $200 to my name. I have no choice but to start saving up again from scratch. I won't look back once I am out, though. Not the a-hole. Pets are family. I would sue him and call the cops. I don't play with animal abuse. She needs to apologize to you or ties would be cut off. True, and right now my dog is more family than my mom is, with the way she has been acting. I thought about that, but I assaulted him. And also suing would probably require money that I don't have. It could be considered self-defense if you got up and hit him in the face, because you thought he was going to continue to hurt your dog, so you just acted on instinct to protect your dog.